Okay, let's just get right into it. We are going to talk about how to transform your AI from this kind of generic, forgetful tool into a super sharp, personalized assistant, one that actually knows what you need every single time. Seriously, by the end of this, you'll have a framework to make your AI work for you, not the other way around.
Look, I'm just going to say it. You are probably using ChatGPT wrong. And hey, that's not an insult. It's a diagnosis. But it's also the key to unlocking a level of productivity you probably didn't even think was possible with this thing. Most users, they settle for this, about 70% quality. You get a decent answer, you tweak it a bit, and you move on. You just kind of assume that's the best the AI can do. But what if I told you that 70% is actually costing you a ton of time and money? We can get that up to 95% and we can do it permanently.
I mean, think about it. You know that feeling of starting over? Okay, remember, I'm a B2B copywriter. My audience is experienced freelancers. My tone needs to be direct and aggressive. It's this super frustrating, repetitive loop that just eats away at your focus and your day.
This right here is the perfect analogy. It's like you've hired this genius intern, but every single morning they walk in the door with total amnesia. You have to explain the entire company, the mission, the brand voice, their specific job, all over again. How inefficient is that? Well, that's exactly what you're doing with every new chat.
The fix for this whole daily retraining nightmare is actually built right into the platform, but it's a feature most people just totally skip over. It's called custom instructions, and it is the secret to giving your AI a permanent memory and, a real job description.
So, how do we fix this for good? Well, it all comes down to a really simple but powerful framework that uses these two little boxes. The best way to think of it is like you're creating an employee handbook and assigning a specific job title to your AI intern once and for all. This framework has two parts. The first part is the mindset box. This is all about identity. This is where you define who the AI is. Then you've got the execution box, which basically acts as a hidden checklist that the AI has to follow for every single task. So one sets the personality and the other sets the process. So let's break down that mindset box. We use a really simple system here, the 3 S's. First is self-identity. Give the AI a professional role. Second, setting. Define your industry, your niche, and who you're talking to. And third is style. Get really specific about the exact tone and voice you want. This is what creates its permanent foundational memory. Okay, now for the fun part, the execution box. This is where the pros really separate themselves from the amateurs. They don't just put simple little requests in here, no. They install something called a metaprompt. And a metaprompt is basically an internal checklist that forces the AI to think, review, and refine its output before it ever even shows it to you.
So what actually goes inside one of these metaprompts? Well, think of it like building a quality control department directly into the AI's brain. You can add self-correction loops, telling it to ask itself stuff like, hey, are there any logical fallacies in my argument? Or you can use negative constraints, like, am I using bullet points when I was told not to? Or is this sentence in the passive voice? And this right here is the game changer. This is what elevates the output from some generic, robotic answer that you have to spend ages editing to professional, near-perfect content that's pretty much ready to go. The Metaprompt does all that hard editing work for you, saving you from countless revisions.
All right, that's enough theory. Let's actually make this happen. This isn't just some cool idea. It's a super practical system you can set up in like the next 5 minutes. Here's your simple 3-step action plan to install your very own custom AI agent. It really is this straightforward. Just go find custom instructions in your settings. In that first box, you're going to plug in your mindset using that 3S system we just covered. And in the second box, you'll install your execution instructions, your powerful metaprompt. It's a one-time setup that gives you a permanent upgrade. And you have to be brutally specific here. I mean, look at this example for a copywriter. It's not just copywriter. It's a highly aggressive, direct B2B conversion copywriter. It specifies the niche and the audience. Or, I don't know, maybe you're a data analyst. You could write, you're a senior data analyst who specializes in e-commerce trends, and you communicate complex data in simple terms for people who are not technical. That's the level of detail you need. Now for the metaprompt. Let's stick with that data analyst. Their execution box might say something like, always present key findings first in a summary paragraph. For any data visualization you suggest, explain the chart type and why it's the best choice. Oh, and do not use statistical jargon without defining it. See? You're literally building your exact workflow right into the AI.
Okay, a quick word of warning on what not to do. First, don't leave a box empty. You need both. They're critical. And please, avoid weak, vague words. The AI has no idea what better means. You have to give it measurable constraints. So instead of stronger, say, use active voice and reduce sentence length to under 15 words. You've got to be an exacting manager here.
So what happens when you actually avoid those mistakes and you set this whole thing up correctly? Well, that's when the real transformation begins. Your AI stops being just a tool that you have to constantly manage and babysit, and it becomes a true agent that works for you pretty much on its own.
For me personally, this one-time change saved me at least 2 hours a week, every single week. That was 2 hours I used to spend just re-explaining context and fixing the tone for my email newsletter. Now that time is totally free for high-level strategy and, actual creative work. What would you do with an extra 2, 3, maybe even 5 hours a week?
So here's the bottom line. If you're frustrated with your AI's performance, the problem isn't the tool itself. The real problem is that you haven't given it a permanent set of instructions. You haven't customized it to be your agent. You now have the entire blueprint, the mindset box, the execution box, and the metaprompt to build an AI that works tirelessly for you. So I'll just leave you with this question. Your brilliant blank slate AI is waiting for its job title. What's it going to be?